Hi everyone. Today I'm gonna talk about food and stress management. First, we go to the definition of stress. Stress in medical or biological context is a physical, mental or emotional factor that cause bodily or mental tension. Stress can be either external or internal. Stress can also initiate the fight or flight response, which is a complex reaction of neurologic and endocrinologic systems.
Stress relationship with food. Stress plays a role in weight gain. This is because the level of the stress hormone cortisol rises during tension-filled time. Cortisol is a critical hormone with many actions in the body. Normally, cortisol is secreted by the adrenal gland in a pattern called a diurnal variation, meaning that levels of cortisol in the bloodstream vary depending upon the time of the day. Cortisol is important for the maintenance of blood pressure as well as the provision of energy for the body. Cortisol stimulates fat and carbohydrate metabolism for fast energy and stimulates insulin release and maintenance of blood sugar level. The end result of this action can be an increase in appetite and can cause craving for sweet, high fat and salty food. So instead of a salad or banana, you're more likely to reach for cookies or mac and cheese. That's why they're called comfort foods. This happens in part because the body releases chemicals in response to food that might have a direct calming effect. Plus, with elevated cortisol level, the body also produces less testosterone, leading to a decrease in muscle mass. With less testosterone to build muscle mass, your body starts to burn fewer calories. Emotional eating. In a stressful situation, each body acts as a different way and lots of people notice a shift in eating habits. Some people, when at a weak point, emotionally turn to comfort food such as sweet and chips, which lead to overeating and weight gain. And others stop eating because they start finding food unappealing. Eating comfort food, whether consciously or unconsciously, is referred to as emotional eating. Most people are prone to gain weight during an emotional or stressful period because the level of the stress hormone cortisol rises, which leads to a drop in blood sugar, and the result is overeating, poor food choices. Emotional eating is eating as a way to suppress or soothe negative emotion such as stress, anger, fear, boredom, sadness, and loneliness. Major life events, or more commonly, the hassle of daily life, can trigger negative emotion that lead to emotional eating and disrupt your weight loss effort.
Moving on to the next point, I will explain about the effects of stress on our food consumption behavior. Actually, many people are not aware that stress can affect our appetite. Based on a study from a psychologist, David Neal, he claimed that when we are very stressed, we tend to choose our food that we want to eat. This is further supported by Harvard Medical School by explaining that the food that we want to eat when we are stressed is most likely unhealthy. By looking on biological aspects, those effects are generally because of specific hormones inside our body react with stress. One of it is ghrelin, or also known as hunger hormone. The other one is an hormone triggered by hypothalamus that produces corticotropin releases hormone, which causes us to eat and drink more and more.
Need another thing to get stressed out about? Your stress itself could be making you sick. Stress doesn't only make us feel awful emotionally, it can also worsen just about any health condition you can think of. Studies have found many health problems related to stress. Stress seems to worsen or increase the risk of conditions like obesity, heart disease, diabetes, depression, gastrointestinal problem, and asthma. So, how do we get disease by stress? First of all, when we experience stress, the adrenal gland will release cortisol. Then, for biological impact level, the cortisol works as an agent to reduce the inflammatory response that stress produces. Then, for the chronic stress level, our body will resistant to inflammation, reducing cortisol. During the last level, which is chronic inflammation response, inflammation causes or worsens various diseases including cardiovascular and infectious disease among others.
Next, effects of excessive food consumption on our body. Excessive intake of carbohydrates can lead to weight gain. This is because excessive intake of carbohydrates will make our body to have poor appetite control. Thus, the inability to control our appetite will make us gaining weight faster than ever. Next, excess carbohydrates can affect our energy level. Carbohydrates provide energy for our body. However, excess carbohydrates will result in fluctuating energy level in our body. Besides, excessive carbohydrates consumption can also affect our health. The overconsumption of carbohydrates can increase the risk of diabetes and also can lead to a permanent cell and organ damage. This is because excessive carbohydrate intake will increase the glucose level in our body. High glucose level is the prime factor of diabetes diseases. Next, excessive intake of proteins. Excessive intake of proteins can lead to dehydration. This is because when consuming a lot of proteins, our body needs extra amount of water to break down protein for use and get rid of the waste that is left behind. So, it is highly possible that our body will dehydrate from consuming too much protein. Then, our consumption of proteins can also put more stress on our organs such as kidney. This is because extra proteins can put extra strain on our kidney, which is harmful for our health. In addition, excessive proteins intake can also lead to an increasing fat storage, risk of high blood pressure, obesity, and osteoporosis. Next, excessive intake of fats. Excessive intake of fats can lead to obesity. Obesity is the condition where the percentage of our body fat is at abnormally high. Thus, to avoid obesity, we should control our fats intake. Besides, excessive fats intake can also lead to atherosclerosis. Atherosclerosis is the condition where the walls of arteries are thickening. This will constrict the flow of blood to the tissues, which is very harmful for our body. It can lead to the diseases like heart disease and stroke. Next, we move to diet plan for Malaysians. Firstly, Malaysians need to know the rule of thumb of dieting. We need to avoid excessive amount of fat, sugar, salt and refined grains. Then, we must plan ahead our diet which consists of such amount of good fat, protein, vitamin and complex carbohydrate. Furthermore, we need to track our calories intake per day. Thus, excessive calories won't lead to weight gain. This is because weight gain with a higher fat percentage will lead to hormone imbalance and causing stress for our body. Next, we move to the food that all Malaysians should consume and consist them in their diet. Firstly, good fat. Good fats consist of yogurt, egg, avocados, olive oil, cheese, dark chocolate and salmon. Secondly, complex carbs, which consist of potato, all type of beans, high fiber carbs such as oatmeal and vegetables. Next is protein, which are red and white meat, cheese, egg and fish. Lastly, vitamin that comes from vegetables and fruits. So, in conclusion, all Malaysians should have a good diet to which have a sufficient fat, vitamin, proteins and carbs in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Next, we move to the food that helps to reduce stress. There are several foods that help to reduce stress. The first one is fish. Fish, especially from sea, such as salmon, sardine and mackerel, and freshwater fish, such as pate and harwan, are high in omega-3. This assists in stabilizing cortisol hormone, which control the body's blood sugar level and regulate metabolism. The next one is nuts. Nuts like almond, pistachio, and walnut are rich in vitamin B2, vitamin E, magnesium, and zinc. This helps to combat stress and prevent diseases that are caused by stress, such as heart diseases. The one is whole grains. Whole grains contain complex carbohydrates that stimulate the production of serotonin hormone, which is responsible for the feeling of happiness. It also increases our energy and reduces lethargy. Examples of whole grains are wholemeal bread, cereal, brown rice, and oat. Next, we move to the tips for avoiding stress through a healthy diet. There are several tips for avoiding stress through a healthy diet. The first tip is having consistent eating pattern. Small but frequent meals is encouraged, while the three main meals, which are breakfast, lunch, and dinner, are necessary. The next one is choosing a balanced diet which consists of a variety of food that are based on the food pyramid. The third one is to reduce salt intake. Excessive salt intake would cause high blood pressure. We need to reduce the intake of food that is high in salt, such as fast food, seasoning powder, canned food, salted fish, salted egg, and pickles. The fourth tip is reducing caffeine intake. Excessive intake of caffeine will increase stress levels and reduce concentration and effectiveness in performing work. In addition, it will also affect the quality of sleep. And the last one is to reduce the intake of sugar. A high intake of sugar could reduce the immune system's capacity to manage stress. Besides, it will also increase the sugar level in the blood, which may cause obesity and increase insulin resistance.
When watching your old TV set, about to see the best part yet, a noisy snack can really drive you crackers. To correct this sad condition, try a snack with real nutrition, cause the best things come in their own wrappers. An orange has a peel, a banana does too. An apple and a pear have a skin you can chew. When you get that hungry feeling, just remember to start peeling, cause the best things come in wrappers of their own.